Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Learn the Bible with me. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. There's some people that are in my life right now that really don't need to be in my life. And the people that should be in my life aren't in my life. And I know you know what? This is the perfect place to bring that up. Because I'm being honest with you guys. I'm trying to live my life as closely with God as I possibly can. But I got some people that's trying to block and try to disrupt things. And everybody in the natural is not doing anything about it. Witchcraft is stupid because you believe you got this all-encompassing power that you can say anything you want, do anything you want, and I'm God over my life and everybody else with it. But it's also dangerous, I'll tell you that. Because if you're not spiritually prepared for it, then you'll go insane. You'll die. Either one of those two. Because it's all about manipulation, it's all about control. That's not really the topic for today, but I just had to bring that up. Because, like I said, all the natural people that I talk to can care less about what I'm going through. Now, there's one person that does. I'm not going to say the person or who it is. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand, which is about, give me just a second. I need to spit this witchcraft out. By the way, I'm not doing witchcraft. Somebody's putting it in me. Okay. Now, what we're talking about today is a solid foundation. It's a solid foundation. This is very key when it comes to your walk with Christ. Now, how do we get a solid foundation? It's not found in anything in this world. The only thing it's found in is Jesus Christ. Because when you put your life based off of anything else, all else is sinking sand. So let's get into some scriptures that tell us how to build brick by brick a solid foundation. So first we have Nehemiah 1 through 11. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hachaliah, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. And it came to pass in the month Chisleu in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan, the palace, that Hanani and one of my brethren came, he and a certain man of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. They said unto me, that remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept, and mourned certain days, and fasted, and prayed before God of heaven, and said, I beseech thee, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible God, that keepeth covenant and mercy for them that love him and observe his commandments. Let thine ear now be attentive, and thine eyes open, that thou mayest hear the prayers of thy servant, which I pray before thee now, day and night, for the children of Israel thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgment, but thou hast commanded it, thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, If ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. But if ye turn unto me and keep my commandments and do them, though there were of you cast out into the uttermost parts of the heaven, yet will I gather them from thence, and will bring them into the palace, and open my name there, and thy servants and thy people, whom thou hast redeemed by the great power, by thy strong hand. O Lord, I beseech thee, and now thine ear be attentive to the prayer of thy servant, and to the prayer of thy servants, who desire to fear thy name and prosper. I pray thee, thy servant this day, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man, for I was king's cupbearer. Okay, the words of Nehemiah, the son of Hachaliah. Like I said, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but basically, this is a prayer. Keep in mind, brothers and sisters, when we are building a solid foundation, we must recognize certain things that's going on. If you know something isn't right in your life, deal with it justly. I know there are some things that we just aren't going to see ourselves because, we're in ourselves. And sometimes it takes other people to tell us, well, I see this going on. I mean godly wisdom. I don't just mean anybody. But that you're able to pray for that individual. That person's able to pray and say, God, I have done this in thy sight, and I'm praying, take this away from me if it be thy will. Because there's just some things that will remain a thorn in our flesh until we die. But they recognized that they have sinned against God. That's the first step in building a foundation. God, I have sinned against you and against heaven. Forgive me. Take that step. If you want to build, again, if you want to build a solid foundation with Christ, ask for forgiveness. Okay, so it looks like we're going through the books of Nehemiah. Okay, and it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes. Oh my gosh, I can't even pronounce that. The king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now it had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, Why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. And I was very sore afraid, and said unto the king, Let the king live forever. And why should not my countenance be sad, when the city, the place of my father's sepulchres, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire? Then the king said unto me, For what thou doest make request. So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said unto the king, If it pleases the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me into Judah, into the city of my father's sepulchre, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, The queen also sitteth by him. For how long shalt thou journey be? And when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. Moreover, I said unto the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given unto the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come unto Judah, and a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which appertained to the house, and for the wall of the city, and the house that I shall enter into. And the king granted me, according to the good hand of my God upon me. Then I came to the governors beyond the river. They gave them the king, I bind witchcraft. Now the king has sent captains of the armies and horsemen with me. When Sanballat, the Horonite, and the Tobiah, the servant, the Ammonite, heard of it, grieved them exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. Uh, let's see. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of the king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not before been beforetime sad in his presence. Okay, so why are you sad? There are just certain times in our life that we come before the king. In this case, it was an earthly king, but we're using the king of kings. He's asking you, son, he's asking you, daughter, why do you come before me sad? And it's okay. It's okay. He understands your pain. He understands what you're going through because he has a son that went through more than we can imagine. Were there times that he was sad? Yes. Were there times that he was angry? Yes. Were there times that people tried to kill him? Yes. But yet, he went through it all so that you can lift your head up, no matter what the situation is. So be grieved, be sad, but don't let that be your entire life. Don't live that forever. Don't stay that way. Get some peace in your life, get some joy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but just pray, God, I lift my eyes unto you with joy and gladness and thanksgiving. I understand that I'm going through this right now, and I don't understand why I'm going through it. But all I know is that all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord according to his purpose. I may not understand everything that I go through, but it's going to work together for my good. In the end. Now, some things don't always have a happy ending, but it does not mean that you have to be sorrowful about it. It's understandably that you don't understand why this happened this way, but sometimes we lose to win, if you're understanding me. Those that we deem as a success may be failing in other areas. So whenever you are jealous of somebody else, just know they're going through things just like you're going through things. The only difference is they're in the spotlight. And that could be a blessing and be a cursing at the same time. But just know that God has you, child. And the only reason why I say child, no matter how old you are, is because 1,000 years is but a day in the sight of the Lord. So we haven't even made a day yet. We're still children in the sight of God. Okay, I'm going to end it off here. And I pray that you got an understanding about building a foundation. You build that foundation on nothing less but Jesus Christ. Okay? Nothing less. But once you have that foundation, everything else will just start building itself. It doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything. Yeah, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to give up some things. But you'll gain so much more in return. So thank you, brothers and sisters, for taking the time to listen to me today, whether it's during the broadcast or on the replay. And once again, as always, I'll see you again next Sunday.